Tiger fans, we have a problem. White Nank can't jump. Thanks for joining me on Yellow and Black. I've just returned from the Hangar out at Melbourne Airport, the home of the Essendon Bombers. Before I talk about the game, what a venue that is. The ground is in A1 condition. Facilities are absolutely world-class, friendly staff, great cafe, awesome training facilities. Well done to the Bombers. They hosted a really good event today. But enough of that. Let's talk about the game. If you weren't there, Richmond went down by 50 points today after a great start, leading 4-1, I think we were at one stage. And then it sort of fell apart a bit from there once Essendon cleaned up their disposal. Like I said, we started really well. The first 5 minutes was cobwebs flying everywhere for both teams. Both sides were butchering the ball either out of 50 or back into their own 50. But we butchered it less and made the most of that period. Houghton kicked a really, really good goal around the corner, and Armstrong took a strong grab and kicked a good goal from an angle. Steely Green kicked an amazing goal back over his head and was working hard in the forward line, especially on the defensive side of his game. Houghton showed why he was at different stages considered the very top of the draft last year. He has some abilities that not many have. His vision, movement in traffic, ability to find the ball really set him apart. And while he didn't dominate, it was a really solid hit out for him that will stand him in good stead for round one. You can lock Harry Armstrong in as well. He presented really well. He kicked well. He marked strongly. He showed good intent when defending. Great signs for Harry. If he's fit, he'll play against the Blues. He looked really solid. Lawler looks set for a big year if he stays fit as well. He was clean, he's big and strong, he's got a great step and he uses the ball really well. He can take a grab, which he did in the first quarter, and he just looks a class above out there. He looked like our best player every time he was near the ball. So we looked really strong for the first half of the opening term. We kicked 4-1 and the term ended 5-4. Essendon got back into the game late when they cleaned up their disposal and looked much stronger from that point on. Kane McAuliffe played predominantly on the outer wing, the wrong wing for a left footer, I'd have thought, but then Tiges was swapping on and off the other wing, also as a left footer. He worked really hard back into defence and he was used as an option coming back out of defence. He looked to go inboard by foot when he did get it and he was keen to open up the corridor when it presented. He faded as the game went on, eventually finishing on the bench, but he did enough for mine to lock him into a wing for round one. He looked really solid. Tyler Sonsi also played on a wing with a little bit of midfield and some half forward as well. He was clean and tidy in the first quarter, not so much in the second quarter when under pressure a couple of times. He kicked the ball high and long and a couple of times missed targets, but he was better again in the second half. Some of his kicking was an absolute highlight. He used the ball quite well. When he was given time and space, he looked at his best. Interesting, Essendon really made a beeline for two players on the day. Ryan Mansell copped some treatment and Tyler Sonsi copped some treatment as well. They were the two players that were targeted by the Essendon players, mainly in voice and a little bit with the bumping and just a bit of scrimmage off the ball. Johnny Ford worked hard to get into position. He had a little bit of concrete hands, wasn't able to finish his hard work, and that continued for most of the match. He's going to need to be better than that to force Lafau or Armstrong out of the side. He just didn't quite look to be clean on the day. Let's hope he has a better performance against Melbourne in a week's time. Like I said, Steely Green kicked an amazing goal back over his head. He worked really hard defensively. If he can clean up his ball use a bit, especially coming inside 50, that would be great. Some of his kicking wasn't to our advantage. I think next week he might sit out and MJ will come in and we'll just see which of those two will get a kickstart in round one. At one stage we had Mansell, Alger, Armstrong, Lawler, Cumming and Fall in our forward line. It doesn't get much younger or more inexperienced than that. So we really were trying everybody out down there. And we were fairly young and inexperienced in the second half as well when Liam Fawcett got a crack down there. Fawcett, speaking of Fawcett, in the second half presented really well. He looked dangerous. He kicked a goal, kicked a really good goal, and could have kicked another one as well. Second quarter was absolutely highlightless for us. Essendon came out smoking. They absolutely dominated from the centre square with their second-year ruckman jumping clean over Nank, which would continue into the second half as well over Hayes Brown. Parrish was everywhere. He had the ball on the string and we didn't seem to be putting any time into slowing him down. If he didn't finish with 40-plus possessions on the day, I'll go he. He played really well. He was damaging. He kicked goals. He got forward. He got back. and he was clearing the ball out of the middle. He played a really good game. Once the ball was inside their 50, they either marked it through great field kicking or they mopped it up if it hit the ground. We really missed Vlosten, Bolter and Broad in defence today. We became a little bit rudderless down there and we missed those three a lot. After a solid first term, Gibcus got taken to the cleaners by Caddy. As the ball entered Essendon's 50 on Reedale, it really came in and Caddy made use of his aerial strength, his dominance and his positioning to give Gibcus a bit of a lesson in that second quarter. Gibcus fought back in the second half and then in the fourth quarter, spent some time on the bench rather. Gruhl continued his solid first quarter form into the second quarter and into the second half. He ran hard, he kicked fairly well, he looked to attack the ball or clear it long. He wanted to bring the ball back into the middle. I liked his game. He'll play round one as well if he's fit. Short was a little at sea in the first quarter. He was undersized against a lot of the Essendon forwards. He looked short against them. He was better in the second quarter and they found a better balance for him in that quarter. He used the ball well as usual, but he didn't really get forward or contest the ball forward of centre, which was a bit of a pity. Essendon's pressure was outstanding. As we started to kick poorly, our pressure was not as good. So we seemed intent on continuing the pre-season mantra of attack, attack, attack. And that's what we should be doing in these games, right? Put what we have practiced into action. And now we've got 4 weeks to tighten up on what happens if we lose clearance, which we lost a lot of today, or if we turn the ball over on the way out, which we started to do quite a bit from the start of the second quarter onwards. Second half was a bit more of the same, 8-4 in favour of Essendon. We rested Taranto, Hopper, Nank, Short and Lawler for the second half, and we introduced Trainer, Smith, Rechko, Fawcett, Hayes Brown and Puker into the mix. Gibcus was also rested in the fourth quarter, as was Houghton. Puker did a bit. He didn't really get too many opportunities, but what he did was okay. He kicked the ball long. He looked okay. Sam Cumming played predominantly forward in the first half. He took a strong grab, kicked a long goal. Looked like a pretty tough sort of character. His teammates loved that goal he kicked, got around him. Then he got into the midfield mix in the second half. He can find the ball, there's no doubt about that. He used his skills to find space. Just needs to relax a little bit on disposal. It'll come together for him, but a couple of over kicks and overhand passes as he really tried to attack the play. But he's going to be a good player. Not sure about round one yet. We'll wait and see what he does next week. He looks a little bit off the mark to me just with his disposal. McAuliffe was another standout in the third quarter for mine. While Trezise worked hard as a small defender and also on the wing when given the opportunity, not as clean as McAuliffe. I thought McAuliffe was a standout on the day. Ralph Smith was okay on the wing as well. He works hard. He needs to be cleaner with his disposal. His 1%ers are as high as anyone's. He's my new Macco. He's the one that'll try and smother, tackle, chase, harass. He works really, really hard. Rechko got a run in the second half. He ran up and back and up and back. He helped in defence, and then in that same play, as we cleared it, he popped up in the forward pocket, took a mark and had a shot at goal. He worked very hard for not a whole lot of reward. So good to see him running really hard. Jack Ross was really good. He seemed to have a license to kick it long into the forward line when he had that opportunity. It would have been good for him just to lower his eyes a bit. He looks a bit bigger than he did last year as well. He laid some fantastic crunching tackles. He kicked generally well, not necessarily to our advantage all of the time though. He got quite a bit of the ball. He played predominantly in the midfield, a little bit on the wing. Bit of a hit and giggle for Taranto, Short and Hopper. They'll be better for the run and they'll play more minutes against Melbourne. They really just played the second half. It was interesting in that second quarter when Essendon really got hold of us in the middle. It was predominantly Ross, Taranto and Hopper in the middle with Nankervis, and they could not lay a hand on it. So then Lawler went in and he got a couple of clearances which started to balance it back up, but it wasn't really through the fault of Taranto, Hopper and Ross. It's just that their ruckman was towering over Nank and hitting to advantage regularly. So the ruck was a bit of a concern. Essendon with one clearance, and after they got clearance, they, as I said, one tap to advantage and used it really well going inside 50. It'll be interesting to see how we go against Melbourne. We generally had one spare in defence, and after half-time for a bit that was Gibcus, but he wasn't intercepting all that much and the ball was used around him. It's be interesting to see how we go against Melbourne with Broad or Vlosten playing loose in defence to try and shore up some of those intercepts. Nank was either hit and miss on his timing, not quite sure what was going on there, or he's just genuinely a foot shorter than his opponent when they meet the ball. He did look shorter than his opponent on the jump. Gray and Miller tried hard, but intercept marking was not on display today. They were beaten, I think, on the day. So the best players for mine, Ross, McAuliffe, Grill, Armstrong, Houghton and Sonsi. It ended up a 50-point loss, 18 goals to 10. Some good things came out of it. We'll want to be a bit better against Melbourne, especially on the defensive end of things. We'll want to have more intercepts and we'll want to be a little bit better when we go forward moving the ball. But overall, there were some positives. Got some game time into the young guys. Didn't look like anybody came off sore. Evidently, Lawler was a little bit sore when he came off, but that was more around a knock than an injury. So hopefully he'll be right against Melbourne next week. Looking forward to that into Ballarat. Can't get there, but I'm looking forward to watching it on telly. Hope you enjoy that. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. And I'll talk to you next week. See you later.